Most relationship problems don't start with bad intentions, they start with misunderstanding. Carl Jung believed that people don't experience life in the same psychological way. We may live in the same house, hear the same words, face the same situation, but we process it through completely different inner systems. This is one of the most important ideas from Jung's work on psychological types. According to Jung, people differ first and foremost in where their energy goes. Some people are oriented toward the outer world. They recharge through interaction, conversation, movement, and response. Others are oriented toward the inner world. They recharge through reflection, silence, and internal processing. We often call these differences extroversion and introversion, but Jung never meant them as personality labels. They describe how a person relates to life itself. And here's where relationships start to break down. An extroverted person may feel connected by talking things out. Silence feels like distance. Lack of response feels like rejection. An introverted person may feel connected through presence and inner understanding. Too much talking can feel intrusive. Constant demands for reaction can feel exhausting. So one person says, "You never communicate," and the other thinks, "But I'm always here." Neither is wrong. They're just speaking different psychological languages. Jung then goes one layer deeper. People don't just differ in how they get energy, they also differ in how they make sense of the world. Some people evaluate life primarily through thinking. They look for logic, structure, consistency, and principles. Others evaluate life primarily through feeling. They look for meaning, values, emotional impact, and human connection. This is where many conflicts come from. One partner says, "That doesn't make sense." The other hears, "What I feel doesn't matter." One partner says, "You're being emotional." The other hears, "You don't care about me." Jung's point is simple but uncomfortable. Most conflicts are not about who is right. They are about how different minds interpret reality. Psychological types are not meant to be used as weapons. They are not meant to label, excuse, or trap people. But that's exactly what we often do. We learn a bit of psychology and say, "That's just how I am," or worse, "That's how you are." And then we stop listening. Jung believed that real growth begins when a person confronts their opposite. We are often unconsciously attracted to people who carry traits we lack. A rational person is drawn to someone emotional. A quiet person is drawn to someone expressive. A controlled person is drawn to someone spontaneous. At first, this feels like chemistry. Later, it feels like conflict. What once fascinated us begins to irritate us. Jung argued that this happens because relationships activate our unconscious. We project parts of ourselves onto the other person, especially the parts we haven't developed. This is why the same relationship patterns repeat. Different faces, same conflicts. According to Jung, a healthy relationship is not about finding someone identical to you. It's not about fixing the other person, and it's not about insisting that this is just who I am. A healthy relationship requires psychological maturity. That means recognizing your own blind spots, understanding that your way of experiencing the world is not universal, and learning to tolerate difference without turning it into a threat. Jung called this process individuation. It's the slow work of becoming a whole person, not by eliminating your weaknesses, but by becoming conscious of them. In modern relationships, many people expect emotional compatibility without psychological effort. They want understanding without learning, connection without adaptation. Jung would say this expectation is unrealistic. Love does not fail because people are different. It fails because people refuse to grow. When we stop trying to turn our partner into a mirror and start seeing them as a separate psychological world, relationships change. Not because conflict disappears, but because misunderstanding no longer feels personal. The real question in relationships is not who is right. It is, am I willing to understand a world that is not my own? That's where real connection begins.